I have done MVP and GTM of 3 different products at Dream 11, and we'll talk about it in a second. And we'll try to apply some of the learnings from the Indian ecosystem around what has changed in terms of how MVP and GTMs were looked at and what it has become now, and how shortened that time frame has become overall. Right. So, what has been the evolution of product development in India? Can anybody tell me how many startups are coming every year in India now? Take a wild guess. Ajinkya, why don't you take a wild guess? I don't think anybody else is there.
In India, it is definitely emerging a lot. So probably annually, maybe 1,000 or
Thousand.
probably even more.
When it started, there were 2,000 in 2014, and now there are about 150,000 startups that come every year in 2025. So the number has really boosted in the last 2, 3 years, and we have become the world's third largest hub when it comes to startup incubation. So definitely something conducive that we are doing as policy, but at the same time something conducive that we are doing as how can you build the startup faster? And with the advent of AI, this has become a lot more faster as well. Right. So 2014 period, the initial one, 2012 to 2015, the key focus was that mobile and e-commerce expansion. I think all of us know about Amazon and Flipkart. It was all about focusing on solving everyday Indians' problem, like the basic need of roti, kapda, makan. Very simple MVPs, and we'll know what MVP is in a bit. But very simple products out there to test with only core functionalities. And as they got feedback, they basically rapidly evolved this into a lot more. Uh, then came the 2016 era when the Geo internet started penetrating in India and internet suddenly became very cheap. Right, that's where the digital penetration started expanding, and sectors like fintech, sectors like edtech started showing up. A more data-driven approach became handy because people in India started realizing that if it is such a big market, then every 50 kilometers, the audience changes. And basis the change in audience, you need to change the way you talk to them, the way you present to them, the way you show to them, the inventory that you maintain. And then lastly, the concept of A/B testing and feedback loops started coming in. In a very layman's term, A/B testing is something like, okay, what if you like A and what if you like B? And which one would be beneficial for the company? If both A and B are achieving the same outcome for you, like it is taking you from signing up to the final checkout, but there are 2 different flows. Which flow is better for the company? Which one you're taking and getting there faster? Which one more people are taking and not dropping off in between? That's basically the road to take, right? And that's the feedback loop. Then 2021 onwards and more towards closer to 2024, 2025, AI started showing up, AI and deep tech. Now it is all about AI first product development, using no code tools, low code platforms to basically build this rapid MVPs and personalizing thing for people, automation for people at scale. Uh, has anybody over here tried any of the AI no code tool? Ajinkya, what about you?
Probably Cursor.
Oh, very interesting. You've already done that. So that's yeah. So then you know how AI development is basically speeding up. Uh, right. Now that is where the crux lies today, where it's important to understand ideas can be copied very fast. Right. Let's say I launch something today, you liked it, you can quickly build it overnight and maybe launch it. But what is important is how do you take that idea, how simple you keep it, which is going to be the MVP of that idea. And second is how do you ensure the GTM of that idea, which is the go-to-market strategy of that idea, helps you differentiate. That is where the crux will lie going forward. So your entire shift in this 15-year period has gone from a very feature-heavy product, which was your Roti Kapada Makan e-commerce, to a very user-centric approach. You've changed from very long development cycle to a very rapid iteration cycle. It is not about building a lot more features. It is about building some, but taking that feedback and changing it. Intuition, previously to a data-driven approach now, because a lot of heavy influence has gone into the fact that you have to go into personalization, and personalization can only come once you understand your user persona. And then lastly, from being coding intensive, which was back in 2012 when startup just started in India, to an AI assisted base where every company now is moving towards the direction of okay, can you understand talking to AI in English, making it understand your context and letting it build for you, right? So the lines between whether you are a tech person, whether you're a product person, whether you are a design person is slowly blurring. You will start wearing multiple hats when you now go in industry. And the important part would be who understands the foundation of this very easily, because tools will keep on coming, right? There is today Lovable, Cursor, Volt, tomorrow something else will come. Same way, some other tools and design will show up. But what will important be is if your basics are clear, if your foundation is clear, you can basically use any tool then, right? And today, none of these tools will give you 100% of the output. But the important part is to start using it from now so that when it reaches that point, maybe in 6 months, maybe in 1 year, you're already ahead where you are not starting when everybody has already taken a leap forward, right? So that's the product development evolution in India. Let's go to what is MVP. Right? Does anybody know over here already what MVP is so that we'll tailor it accordingly? I don't want to go into basic jargons and definitions to work with, and I'll share more of my experience about what I have built compared to just a theoretical knowledge. So, yeah, does anybody know what MVP is? Cool. Then let's minimum viable product. Yes, that's a good starting point. A usable version of a product with minimal resources for early feedback. Minimum viable product is the term that it is called, but what does minimum means, what does viable means, and what does product mean in this? All three words are very important to understand. So the minimum is basically the most rudimentary, bare bones foundation of a solution possible. So let's say, for example, in my experience, we recently built out a game, uh, which is about innings fantasy. So let's say most of you don't know what Dream 11 is. So Dream 11 is basically a fantasy platform where you can come play fantasy sports, cricket, football, whatever, on real world events. Now, currently, Dream 11 used to have only the full match fantasy. And I wanted to test out, okay, whether people would want to play innings fantasy, which is just a smaller version of that particular thing. But that was just a very notional idea. We've never tried it before. There are not many people who are doing it in industry. There must be something working, not working in that. Now, how do I test it fast without ensuring that I don't waste enough effort, effort in terms of bandwidth of people, not in terms of the hours I have put in. And then second, that it is enough for people to like it also. So the minimum basically that we defined over there was okay, people should be able to see a match, which is the IPL match. They should be able to see a contest, which is our mega contest, and they should be able to see a team creation. Now, in team creation, you can technically give them 20 things. Okay, here are the stats of the player. Here are the last 5 match performance of the player. This is what we think the player will perform in future, which we all have in Dream 11. But all of that was not required from a new concept standpoint. It was more about okay, the early adopters will always be people who are the cream of your product, like who will be the best user persona for your product. They can understand it even with its shortcomings because they would want it the most. So for optimizing for those users, we did not have to give them multiple features around helping them to improve their team creation. What was important was that if I give them something like this, will they join a match? Will they play a contest by making a team of 4 players? So we just gave them this limited thing, and then it became like, okay, this is my bare bone minimum that I need to offer. If I don't give them a selection panel where they can create a team, they won't be able to play a contest. If they can't play a contest, then the match information is useless. So my minimum became they need a match, they need a contest, they need a team creation. And then finally, people can only play more and you will retain them if they have trust. So there is a way for them to see the leaderboard where they can see their ranking. So 4 pages minimum, be done with it, get away from it. That's how we defined our minimum for it. Then came viable. Now, viable comes from the lines of will it have interest for sufficient amount of people to adopt it so that you can get organic growth and you can get a healthy retention. People should be able to come back again and again because what we said at the start was these users will be your cream users. the best ones, right? If your early adopters are not staying, if they don't think the product is viable, then the future people won't come, right? And at the same time, your retention will take a hit and you would never invest more in that product. Now, what does viable mean? Viable can mean from two lenses. One is, okay, they are able to do the basics of the game, which is they can find a match, they can find a contest, they can make a team, they can submit a team, and they can see the leaderboard. The second is that flow frictionful or good, so that they like to come to it again and again. They don't like wasting time. Like that comes from the mindset of what is your user persona. So your best audience would be playing at multiple platforms in terms of fantasy. So they would want to optimize for their time. If you make a flow where they're not able to optimize for their time, they will drop off, even if you're giving decent rewards. Right. So viable comes from that lenses. What is that minimum flow that they will like to play? Right. And then the last thing is obviously product, which is something tangible that they can feel. So it should be a website or an app that they are able to access and something that come through. In the recent time, this product definition has become a lot more app than website because you can maintain on retention because people will have it installed on their phone versus going to a web page. Right. So that's what MVP is, the breakdown of that definition, why it is used to validate your product market fit. Now, what is product market fit? Does anybody know? Take a wild guess.
Ready for the go-to market start, ready
No,
to
so
fetch it into the market.
go to market is slightly different than this one. So product market fit is something where you as a company feel, okay, this product has perfectly fulfilled the demands, by what Dharmender is saying. It has solved the real user problem, I would say, Simran, not user needs. Because the needs can be many, but is it solving a specific problem that they feel that is improved in their life? That is what the key is. If you have solved that, if your product has reached that satisfaction level where people, if you take away that product today and you send out a survey to all your audiences, let's say 50% will say, hey, my life will not be better without it. Right. Which means people are missing your product. That's a qualitative standpoint of looking at it. The data standpoint of looking at it would be what is your retention on that product. Now, for different industry, that would mean differently. For gaming, that is always week five retention. Are people playing till week five and up to a certain threshold? There are benchmarks for different games that they follow. If you are, then from a data standpoint, you call, okay, you have reached product market fit. Now, what is it? Why it is important? The important part over there is if you believe as a company that you have achieved product market fit, which is not easy, by the way, and I'll get to that as well, you can basically expand on top of it to start adding more features, basis the feedback, building on the game, getting more people into the funnel, going for some marketing because now you know you have solved the retention problem. There is not going to be a leaky bucket over there, right? So product market fit is basically the first thing that you use an MVP to solve for. Does this product has legs for me as a company to invest into it, solve problems for more users if the TAM exists, the total addressable market, and at the same time build it with unit economics so that I don't overspend rupees and make 5 rupees. That's like a loss-making business. Who would want to do that? In some phases, you might just for growth. A lot of companies do, but there has to be a path that this 5 can become 15, and then you can recoup that 5 that you have spent extra previously. So that's one. Second is to gather real feedback early. If you think about any of these products, be it Zomato, be it Swiggy, be it Dream 11, for example, be it PhonePe, for example, their product today looks a lot differently than what it started from, right? Because at the start, they had one thought in mind. For example, for Zomato, it was okay, I want people to discover restaurant menus. So they built something around that first. When they saw more traction, they got user feedback. No, we also want to order from restaurant. That's where they turned into an order servicing business. And then came other businesses like Blinkit as well as District and other things, right? Because slowly and slowly, once you start gathering that feedback and you build on that next, you build on that next, you build on that next. And this MVP phase technically never goes away because you will always build one product, you will find product market fit, you will scale that up, but at the same time, you will build three, four new features. Those features will be in their MVP phases unless you have very strong conviction from market research or if you've seen some other company already do it. For example, let's say Blinkit came later to Instamart. the Swiggy's venture of grocery, right? Now they have seen Swiggy done the MVP of it and getting good traction, so they can directly scale and invest money into it. So if you have an exhibit, you are not looking for the MVP route. You are only looking for the MVP route when you don't have enough data to say, okay, this is the right direction for the company to invest into. It cuts development times and costs because you're not focusing on building a complete product and you're not focusing on building entire all the flows. So that time the cost to this launching to testing becomes shorter. This has further reduced drastically since the age of AI, and we'll talk about it. And then lastly, you focus only on the core features over here. What is the least minimum product that you need to basically launch? So you identify needs, you define your core product. Identify needs means identifying the problem. Defining core product means without which this problem cannot be solved at all, uh, very ruthlessly. Third, you build very fast because it is all about speed to market now. Fourth, you measure what you are getting in terms of qualitative feedback through research, through customer surveys, and at the same time through data. Basis what your success metrics are for this product, what is your North Star metric for this product, and then finally you iterate basis both of them. And you will often see when you go into this that your final product, which you come off and say, okay, this is hit product market fit, most of the times will look almost differently than what you started out from, both in terms of the problem you are solving, because your validation is doesn't only comes in the face of, okay, for this problem maybe this flow is not right. That is one kind of validation. The second validation would be, okay, maybe this problem that I thought about is not right. The problem has changed, and for a different problem my product needs to look differently. Right. So, for example, this innings fantasy game, we started off it by saying, okay, people would want to play second innings because a lot of us would watch the match. And let's say at the time of toss, you will get some information which will say this is a batting track. And even the toss winning captain will say there, even the toss losing captain will say that, okay, we want to bat first because of so and so reason. And suddenly you see the pitch was not performing well and they lost wicket and they got out for 180 only on a 300 surface in a ODI. Now that is more information. If you're playing the full innings fantasy, you don't have that information. You would want to use that information and make a better team in innings two because now you know how the pitch is performing. So the variables have reduced. You would believe that you can make a better team and you can maybe perform better. Now that was our hypothesis going in while building this, and then we learned something new around. Okay, people also are thinking that okay, innings fantasy is not just for that. I can only play first innings and be done with it. I can only play the innings for the team I like. I only like, let's say, Chennai Super Kings. I only want to play Chennai Super Kings side of batting and nothing else. That insight also helped us now to change the product in a way where, okay, if people are coming for more FOMO, people are coming for more loyalty of the teams that are following, then my flow should look a lot differently, right? So my problem statement changed. I want to only play for the team I like rather than, hey, I want to play for more information and that's why I want to play late. So your problem statement will also evolve with this. Zomato, looking at how this evolution basically works. So we said there are four basic principles on which your entire MVP structure will lie. One, you start with a single well-defined problem and solve it exceptionally well. You don't go into thinking about, okay, I need to provide five features. No. Every good idea, when it comes from the mindset of solution, always think about, okay, go throw that in the dustbin. Always first define what is the problem you're solving. Without that, every solution is a good solution, but it can never become great. So to answer for a great solution, you need to know what problem you're solving and for which users you're solving. So that is a starting point. Second, use data to drive product decision rather than intuition alone. A lot of the time, what happens is these MVP teams will be smaller teams. So they would rarely have enough time to look at everything from a data perspective. And a lot of the decisions will start becoming gut driven. Now, at the start, it is great. You have to do that because there is no data, there is no industry benchmark. But as you gain industry benchmarks, as you gain more data, you have to shift your approach from 90% intuition to let's say 70% intuition, then 50% intuition, and so on and so forth. Because otherwise, what happens is you'll keep building basis what you think is right about the audience, but not basis what the data is telling. And in India, that is an even bigger problem. Now, why is that? Can anybody tell me why in India intuition would be a bigger problem than anything else?
too much competition in the market or already existent solutions?
No, that too you will know, na? Like the solution already exists, this people are doing better. That you will always know. So you can take a call with. Sorry, can you repeat? Hello? It's the volume. It's the one thing that people from outside also come to build companies in India for. It's the volume of people we have. Every 50 kilometers, data will change. So us sitting in a tier one city, let's say me sitting in Mumbai, thinking, okay, this is how India would want to play innings fantasy, would be a very biased opinion about how my belief system has been, what my experiences have been, how I like to play innings fantasy. But somebody sitting in a tier two city, tier three city, or Bharat, for example, might not even understand what is going on in terms of flows. Is it more complex, less complex, something else, something not, right? So the unpredictable audience stage, exactly, that's basically keeps changing in every vertical. Not relevant to gaming, it will do it in fintech, it will do it in e-commerce, everywhere. Your audience changes, and that's why you have to look at different data cuts to say, okay, where are you actually getting audience from, where the conversions are better, where they are poor, but you're still getting people on the websites. We need to solve for that particular part. That for your product owners solve that problem, but what is that problem exactly will come only from data. Expand features and market only after validating core offering. This is very important. People see initial traction and they'll go into building a lot more. Okay, people like this particular thing. Let me build this another game format on top of it. For example, I have done that in past. It is very common to happen because you see good signs and you want to double down and you want to say, okay, let me go fast and acquire more users. But it is always important to ensure that your core offering is doing well over a period of time. That week five retention, for example, in gaming, is it only doing better in terms of IPL where people know what teams are playing, or is it doing better after IPL also where you don't know all the teams that are playing? Right, and the last is build a community around your product to drive organic growth. This comes in two ways. One is referral, and one is your YouTube channels where you talk about what this product is, how it can solve a problem, what does different features do. So people need a way to find things, and YouTube right now has become the go-to norm for everybody, where they do go and search, okay, can you tell me how to make a team on Dream 11? And you will see infinite videos people are posting about it right now. So building those community levers help people stick around. Building those referral levers help people bring other audiences because initially me telling you as a friend that hey, I'm using this product, let's say Obsidian, which is great in taking notes. uh, why don't you try it out? I think you're facing issues with normal sticky notes. You would try it out. But if you see that as an ad somewhere, you may go, you may not go. Your conversion would be lesser because you're like, oh, my sticky notes are doing my job. What does this ad know about me? Maybe Google has just saw me working on sticky notes and served me this ad, right? So all of those things will creep into. That's where Zomato also went into in their evolution timeline. 2008, 2010, they were all about listing restaurants and menus. A simple platform that only provided restaurant information. They scanned all the menus online and focused on one single problem: finding restaurant information. 2011 to 14 onwards, they realized, okay, people want to also know how is that restaurant exactly in terms of performance. What are their ambience looking like? How does the food look like? So they added user-generated content to create a community where people can, with their mobile phones, take a photo, put a review, and all those things. 15 to 18, they started online ordering and delivery because that's when Geo came into picture. People started using a lot more phones. People started using a lot more internet, watching TVs at home. They wanted to do a lot more parties. And that's where this discovery to transaction started happening. And at the same time, the UPI was also born around that lines, right? So people trusted online payments, started doing it, and they built the delivery network and that payment integration to offer seamless ordering experience. Prior to 2015, if they would have done it, they would have faced a problem because there was no good solution in terms of online payments. Right, all these Razor Pay, Phone Pay, Bharat Pay, everybody came after 2015 and onwards because that's where they saw the best opportunity for them when Geo came into being that okay, I can reach to a million of people over here. And then 2019, so forward, they started developing ecosystem around Zomato subscriptions, Hyperpure for restaurant supplies, AI-powered personalization, logistic optimization, etc. So you see, they didn't go directly into that phase of, okay, let me launch a restaurant listing and menu business with a subscription and people can post photos and everything. No, that would be too many things. First, they have to validate, okay, are people actually looking for finding restaurants? Then yes, what is the next thing? Their problem once I found the restaurant. Okay, I don't know whether it's a good restaurant or not. So I need reviews, rating, and photos. Once I've done that, okay, now I don't want to go to restaurants. I want to order at home also. I can't go to restaurant every time because it's expensive. The real estate cost over sitting there would be there. So I can order in cheap compared to eating over there. So that's how online ordering started. And then, okay, now it is all about loyalty. So let me build a subscription. Let me do cost efficiency around supply chain, etc. Right. So it was an evolution through this of how MVP basically functions. Lastly, coming to this part, right? Building MVP in the AI era. Now, how many of you have here tried any no-code tool and build something? I would tell show of hands, but I see everybody's shy. People have turned off their videos. Nobody? Ajinkya tried cursor, that I know. Okay, tried lovable. How comfortable are you guys with no-code tools? Notebook LM, okay. Cool. What you guys need to do is to understand basically is that now everything will be AI driven when it comes to MVP. No company is going to invest the same amount of cost, the same amount of bandwidth into going deep into this because there's a two-legged problem. The first legged problem is everybody is doing it with AI and AI has actually made it fast. So why invest so much amount of money, so much amount of manpower into building that MVP and testing it out? Like I said, ideas can be copied. It is about the execution. It is about the GTM, how good you do it. So that's why the investment in MVP from a cost perspective, both resources as well as tools and manpower will reduce. So you need to definitely learn how you can use AI to build small things, solve your personal problems. The second problem to this is because there will be so many MVPs out there in the AI world, once you have proof of concept, you want to scale up fast. So they want to save their money and their manpower for that part of the process. And so that now instead of testing out five MVPs, they will test out 15. In the five, if one used to work, in 15, three will work. Let's say the same ratio. For those three projects, they will need more people. That means they cannot invest more people in MVP, right? So that's where also this entire domain will shift towards using a lot of AI and working through it. I'll not go in detail about this session. Product Space do conduct a lot of sessions around it. I take a lot of session for AI for product management over there. You guys can check it out. But for me, it was important to call out that okay, go test it out. Build something in Lovable. There are videos that I've posted on LinkedIn, which has full how-to guides around it. You can check out my LinkedIn content for it. Uh, but what I've realized as a product manager is that if a picture is worth 1,000 words, a prototype, a MVP is worth 1,000 meetings. Me in my position, I would want to test out more games very fast, right? One of my charter is go do innovative things, test out different products as MVPs, and whichever is working, basically will invest more into it, right? So there's a full-time charter which I handle in Dream 11 around team creation, leaderboard engagement, etc. But there's the second thing also that I lead, which is around finding the next Dream 11. Now, 10 out of the 9 ideas will fail that I try also because I'm going to do something which is not out there. Right. There will be challenges and lots of it around it. But from an MVP standpoint, nothing is out there. And I would never get enough bandwidth to test out all of them at once. And cricket, for example, is a very supply centric business. Like you would want to play an IPL, you would want to play in India matches. For me, to test out multiple ideas, those are the phases. And India would play, let's say, 150 days out of the 365 and another 50 days of IPL, so 200 days, right? Roughly that I will get. Now, how do I test three, four ideas in this 200 days while building the remaining 165? That's where AI came into being for us. We build a lot of quick, simple games or game mechanics that we wanted to test out during IPL also to test out very fast with our audience. At that point, it was not about, okay, can 1 million people play? It was okay if 10,000 people played, but that gave me enough data to say, okay, what is next? And this came into being couple of ideas that we did over there, then soon converted into proper investments from our company, which now I have a team to build forward on. But wouldn't have happened if I would have not built a prototype around it to test out with few people. So this is where the world is tending towards, where good ideas are no longer only accessible to people who can build tech. It is accessible to everyone. You can build it very fast. The important part would be, are you solving the right user problem? Are you doing it in the right manner where you're gathering the right data before scaling up? And third, are you listening to that pulse and changing your MVP again and again, again and again, so that you land to the best product possible? That's where vibe coding came into being as well. And again, you can check out my LinkedIn content around it, full videos over there. You can use Replit or Lovable, two of the tools that I particularly love building on. Cursor is also there. Cursor is a little more heavier if you understand in terms of what coding is. Their UI UX, I personally don't like. It's a little more, what do you call it, jarring as well as overwhelming as a non-tech professional. But if you're from any tech background in this, definitely do try Cursor. Cursor is way ahead of Replit and Lovable. But otherwise, you can try Replit and Lovable also to build simple apps and code basis prompts. The idea again, building over here is simple. You define your problem. Take 5 minutes always to pen down your thoughts on a piece of paper, what you are solving, how you are trying to solve it, and what is the outcome you are trying to achieve before writing even the first prompt in any of these windows. Because otherwise, what will happen is you will start typing over there. Over time, you will realize, okay, no, this could have changed like this could have changed like that. And then making iterations in these tools are not that friendly as of today. It will change a lot of code again and again for you. You will waste tokens. You won't be able to do much on your free plans. So always take a piece of paper, write down your problem, write down your process of solution of how you think this will work, scribble around, get to a workable place, and then basically whatever is your final output on that piece of paper, transfer that to a Lovable or a Replit or anywhere you're using. So pick your AI tool basis your use case, describe in natural language, just talk in English, iterate on it, test it, refine and scale. That is the true MVP philosophy. That is what is happening right now. So I in Dream 11, for example, for this innings fantasy, identified the problem. People want more information and wants to play second innings with that information. I used the AI tool, Replit, around to build first thing for it. Then simple English in which we spoke. Few people, three, four of us built the whole thing. We iterated on it. Feedback that we got was, okay, no, maybe I want to play only Chennai's match. Maybe I want to play first inning also. So we changed how the flow looked like. We tested that again and then we kept on scaling. And now it is a full blown product. If you go to Dream 11, you will be able to see it on the bottom now of Dream 11 where it exists. It's a full blown product. It's a standalone thing as well, right? So that's how you go about doing it. Once you find validation, you invest more, invest more, invest more, invest more. Cool. Let's come to go to market, which is the missing piece. So up until now, it was all about building things out, right? You have built your MVP, but it can still fail. You've done all the right things. You've identified the problem. You have identified a very simple way to build it. You've only built the core features, but it can still fail. Uh, why is that? Now, GTM is go-to-market strategies, but can you tell me if you follow all the right steps of MVP also, it can still fail? Why? Anybody? No one? Not reaching to the exact customer base. Yes, I would term it as not understanding your user personas, who your right users are, not talking in a language they would understand, and not keeping it exciting for them. So again, goes back to Bharat. What do they want to listen versus what do you want to sell? So it is always important to be interested than be interesting. Right, when we are talking to people in any group, in any social setting, we always say, okay, be interested in what they are saying so that they will engage more with you rather than be interesting where you are telling a lot more stories saying, hey, I'm good in this, I'm good in that. Nobody is here to appreciate your product. They are here to appreciate it. So they need to understand that part of it, right? Yeah, brand visibility, Jaswinder, comes a little later in the function. In the MVP stage, you can assume there is no brand visibility, right? Because you would invest less in marketing. Brand visibility grows over time, especially now in the age where everybody is doing heavy marketing. USP is you can still have USP, but if I don't understand your USP, then there is a problem, uh, right? That's where go-to-market strategies come into being. It's a plan about how will you position your product, what problem it is solving for me, what is the pricing, is it right? I am willing to pay that much. Third, how will you promote it? Does it hit the right nerve for me? And then lastly, distribution. Are you available on the channels where I am at, or are you looking for me to find you? For example, positioning wise, mutual fund sahi hai. Everybody in initial thought, no, okay, we don't want to invest in stock market. Then post COVID, there a boom came. A lot of influencers came into YouTube, and people started investing in stock market. Market was going up, it was great. Market then went down. At that time, mutual fund came into saying, hey, mutual fund sahi hai. So their positioning was, okay, financial markets mein mutual fund sahi hai. Pricing wise, they have something for everybody. Promoting wise, they started explaining why mutual fund is sahi hai. Uh, Low risk return, high risk return, everything available to you at just basis market. They were promoting for those terminologies. As a human being, I have a fear of losing my money more than making less on of my money, right? That's the bias we live with everybody. So they focused on that particular part. Market up ho ya down ho, invested for long term, and mutual fund will make you money. So you will not lose money basically. And then distribution. They went with the people who had a trusting face in India, Sachin Tendulkar, Rohit Sharma from cricket, and then other industries as well. And they distributed where people were because they were targeting normal janta. They were a lot on TV. They were a lot on digital from that lens. Right. So it is important for looking at those aspects. Core components of an effective GTM strategy: who is your target audience and what are your customer segmentation. So target audience could be wild. I want to target the entire of India, but I can't talk in the same fashion to the entire of India. There has to be some nuances for different market. That level of personalization, understanding what the profile of these all of India is. Am I targeting office goers? Am I targeting entrepreneurs? Am I targeting product builders, college students, school students, parents? Who are they? Defining that to that level of crux is very important because then only you can promote it in the right problems and say, okay, say the right terminologies which I will be excited about listening to. Because that will define your positioning and messaging. What is your unique value proposition and messaging that you have tailored to this particular customer segment? Once you have nailed that, once you've gotten me hooked, okay, this is the problem exists for me and I like what you are saying, I will check it out. At that point, it becomes the decision of, okay, is the price right for me? Or should I buy a cheaper alternative of it? Right. So pricing strategy. What is the value perception for the thing that you are solving? What is the competition doing around it? Do you need to give me discounts initially to hook me and then basically take it forward? Then comes your distribution channel. Once this is sorted, where all you're available, where I can find you. Sometimes you'll see an ad on TV, you are busy in something, you'll say, I'll check it out later. But if you're not available digitally to me, if I have to go somewhere to check it out, I might lose you. But I can find those ads digitally also in Instagram if I live there, Facebook, wherever, right? Helps build those distribution channels. And then lastly, marketing and sales. How will you drive awareness? How will you drive conversions? That's where your promotions and discounts and other things come into being. So that's your sweet spot, right? Do you have the minimum viable product? That's first. Once you have the minimum viable product basis the things we have looked at, are you serving the minimum viable segment? Is there enough people who would want to try it out? Is there enough people who would want to pay for it? That's the willingness to pay. So you take the intersection of that smaller segment, which is easier to cover for you in all of these three, and that's your sweet spot, right? That is the whole crux of what MVP is and what GTM is overall. Now, why GTM matters, we've just seen this. For example, I'll give again example from my experience only in this. We launched innings fantasy. We added innings fantasy in Dream 11 also. Now, during IPL time, everybody comes on Dream 11 to play Dream 11, right? And we had a very solid problem. At least what we thought about was, okay, there are enough takers who would want to play for second inning fantasy. So the ideal thought process was, okay, we'll put it in the bottom now of Dream 11 under a games tab, and then people will come and play it because people would want to explore new things. We saw initially people adopted it, but then we saw a retention problem. We realized people were optimizing for the time on Dream 11. They don't want to go into a sub flow. They want to go in a match flow of Dream 11 only. And we were asking them to come to a game which they are playing for the same match which they are playing on Dream 11, but through a different flow. That lacked our positioning within Dream 11. We were positioning it as a separate game rather than a separate offering within the same game, right? Because at the end of the day, I'm playing Chennai versus RCB game. Why are you telling me go somewhere else and play some Chennai RCB again? As a user, I would be confused. I'm already playing it. Why don't in my live match when I'm coming to track my performance, basis my performance, you tell me, hey, you have nailed your performance so far. Why don't you try second innings also and win double? Or let's say your captain, vice captain got out in the first innings, and then you can say, hey, you still have a second shot. Why don't you try out this? Your captain, vice captain is out over here, but the game is not over for you. So going contextually to the place where the user is going to be rather than taking the user out of the flow and talking in the language which the user will understand becomes very important, and this basically reduces both your time to market and your go to market cost. Otherwise you spend a lot of money to acquire users versus making it organic as a funnel for people to come and retain on the platform. This also increases your product adoption chances. uh, your team alignment becomes better. There is a product team who is building it with your tech and design, and there is a marketing and sales team who will be marketing it to people. But if you're not aware what problem you are solving, for whom you are solving, what is going to be a pricing, what is going to be a positioning, this entire layer will make assumptions. They will build a product which they think basis their assumption is correct for this particular problem. The marketing and sales team will not pitch it in the same manner because they think their understanding is slightly different. So now think of a scenario where, let's say, for example, Dream 11 is marketing outside saying, hey, why don't you play a Mumbai versus Chennai game today on Dream 11? And they show you a visual of Mumbai Chennai game card as well. I come to Dream 11, this game is going to happen tomorrow, and on top I see five other matches. So now as a user coming first time, I don't know where that match is. You told me, okay, if I click over here, I'll be able to play Mumbai versus Chennai. But as soon as I landed here, I see something else entirely. So that alignment is very important. Okay, if I'm pitching for Mumbai versus Chennai game, the deep link that I add over there should take me directly to that particular game so that my context is maintained. If I have promised you, okay, you will get a free entry in that particular game, when I click on it and come over here, it should not tell me, hey, pay 19 rupees or pay 40 rupees. It has to be free entry. So that team alignment about what you're trying to pitch, how that flow will work is very important, because if the marketing and sales team doesn't tell the product and design and tech team that, hey, we want to do such kind of integration where we want to show this game, we want to show pricing pattern as well. I can't build a deep link which can power this. You will use a generic link to take to Dream 11, dream11.com/home, for example. But I need to build you a link, dream11.com/home/Mumbai CSK game, whatever that may be, so that you can directly take people over there. Then I have to give you a second deep link which says, okay, if people click on this particular banner on ClickBuzz, they should get the first entry free, not everybody else. So all of those customization can only happen when this entire layer talks to each other. Otherwise, people will click on it, they will come over here, they will drop off from here. So I will pay the external marketing platform, ClickBuzz, Google, Facebook, money because they work on a click based model or an impression based model. They have given me impression, they have given me click. So I'll pay them the money for getting the person from there to here. But that person is not converted for me. So my cost of acquisition for getting a user who is playing on the platform has increased because more people are dropping off. So all of these optimization becomes very important when it comes to understanding go to market strategy. Yeah, and it creates a foundation for sustainable growth because people understand what you're talking about. They'll give you feedback. Okay, I don't think this is right. Like when we spoke to users, they told us they are coming to play specific team matches, first innings, everything also. So my positioning has to change. That changed. We saw bigger growth in numbers as well. So to build that sustainable growth levers, you have to have a go-to-market and plan. You have to get feedback on that go-to-market plan. You have to iterate that go-to-market plan. The common mistakes, you do a very broad targeting. Like I want to target the entire of India rather than I want to target 18 to 30 years of age from this domain who are college goers, who are this particular profile for this particular product, right? So that kind of segmentation is very important for breaking things down, which is missing. Sorry, just give me 1 second. Still, I will be 5 minutes late. We're already above time because we started late. But I think I can spend 7 minutes more. So I'll quickly rush it and open it up for Q&A. I wanted to give a demo of Lovable also, but short of time, so can't. MVP to GTM links. Your MVP is a solution to a problem you want to validate. Your GTM is what delivers. Right? Validation early and often. Test out different product positioning, key messaging, distribution channels to see where you are seeing good traction and you scale on it. For example, you might be investing in WhatsApp as a marketing channel and Facebook as a marketing channel and Instagram as a marketing channel. If you are getting more conversion from WhatsApp, you'll stop doing it on Instagram and on Facebook and you'll only do more on WhatsApp. That's how you basically validate early with basic spends and scale. Parallel iterations, you refine your MVP and GTM constantly basis feedback loop from users, from your internal stakeholders, and basically improve on top of it. Uh, Key four themes in India, people now are focusing a lot on localization. I still don't think from an MVP perspective that is important. If you tailor it to a specific user segment, however, then localization comes into picture. But Hindi and English tends to do the job currently because that covers your majority of the population. Then comes your digital first channels. A lot of the people are mobile first now. Hardly you would see a lot of TV spends. TV spends will be for your physical categories, groceries, etc. So a lot of digital spends if you're building apps. A tiered based approach. What do you want to tell to tier one audience, tier two audience, tier three audience is very important because digital literacy, purchasing power, consumer behaviors changes every few kilometers in India. And then lastly, value first positioning. It is not about what money they can pay you. It is about are you solving a problem they see exist in their life. If they see that value, they will come automatically. They will spread the word to everybody who has that problem in their vicinity. That's how referral kicks in and that mouth of word publicity starts kicking in and that flywheel starts rolling. Uh, in terms of GTM frameworks, nothing but what do you look at? So mobile first community influencer strategic partnership is something that we just spoke about. But I want to talk about what metrics to track. This is the crux of it. A lot of people, if you ask when you're starting out as an MVP or you're building, what is your North Star metric? People will end up saying, hey, my North Star metric is acquisition. The more people I get to sign up on my platform. But that's a very dummy way to look at it because yes, you will get 1,000 people to play on your come on your platform, sign up. But what are that 1,000 people doing? Are they have they spent for the first time for your happy flow? Have they come back and spent again? Because all of that decides what is going to be the success of your product. Of the 1,000, how many has converted, which is going to be the visitor who becomes customer for you. Of that, let's say that number is 600, so 60% are converging. Great. Now, 60% is great or not, that has to be industry specific. You have to look at in that industry that you are building whether 60 is good, bad, or normal. Just how markets work, right? When you say, oh, I've gotten 12% return this year, that is useless if the market has gotten 20% return, right? So you have to compare it with a comparable and say, okay, whether 12 is good or not. So let's assume for now 60 is good. We'll only talk the happy flow. And then you say, okay, out of this 60, 600 people, basically, how many are coming back again? Let's say 50%. So for that industry, let's assume 50% is a good retention. So 300 people are coming back again and again. Now, this 300 people who are coming back again and again, they will provide you more lifetime value rather than the only first timers that came. This entire customer lifetime value that you will get basically will decide the money that you're spending to acquire customer. Are you making it back also or not in a particular payback period? You might be spending $1,000 to acquire a customer, and every time the user transact, they give you $100, which means every user has to transact 10 times to pay back that 1,000. And if you have a retention that drops, say 50%, you basically need every successive user to transact more 20 times, 30 times, 40 times to be able to break even. That is where you have understood that we have reached unit economics and I can scale my business. So retention is enough to fund the acquisition cost myself rather than asking for more money to my board or to anybody to fund it. Because then otherwise the organic growth is not coming. You will ask for more money, which means you're burning more money. If you're burning more money, maybe there are better projects to invest into. So you solve for that flywheel where your acquisition cost can be solved using a lifetime value that you and your company think is justifiable for that particular industry, and then basically build on top of it. Cool. So key takeaway: validate is what the goal is, not perfection when it comes to building MVP. Democratization of MVP has expanded because of AI. So leverage those AI and no-code tools for rapid prototyping. GTM is equivalent to building a product itself. It is not just about the MVP. Your MVP and GTM needs to align. A great product needs strong market strategy, otherwise it is useless. Orkut, for example, when Facebook came, they copied Orkut from start, right? Orkut didn't hit the needle because their GTM, their improvements didn't match up. Eventually, Facebook did, and they took over. I think there was another search engine before Google also didn't hit the market right, solve the same problem because the GTM didn't land it. And then lastly, once you get feedback, once you see promising sign, as you enter into a diverse market, depending on the market you're entering, you can test out localization basis that particular domain. Again, you don't start by localizing it for the entire country. You pick up a domain, you say, okay, I'm maybe solving for Gujarat, and then solve for Gujarat, and then localize there, or maybe you're solving for MP, localize there, and so on and so forth. That again, you will get it from the lines of from which domain you're getting the most customers, from where your customer conversions are highest, where your customer retention is highest. You will first want to double down on those areas, sort of making them your moat areas, and then basically expanding into other places because you can achieve more over there in less of a cost. That's why you start from there more. Uh, cool. Like we said, start small, think big, move fast, validate. So core problem, build with AI, validation, GTM, and iteration. That's where basically I end it for all of you guys. Here are some of the resources I'll share it across with you as well. Product Space is a good platform. They teach you product management from end to end if you want to look it up. Uh, Lean Startup, I would recommend everybody please do read if you're interested in product management. Hooked is another great book that you should read. Uh, Replit and Lovable, I think everybody should try it out. If you are more tech savvy, go and try it on Cursor as well. But otherwise, Replit and Lovable, and do explore your product space and IT networks for basically finding relevant insights on building more products. Because, like I said, building will become a lot more easier. Learning how to talk to user, identifying the right users would become the key differentiating skill because that is discovery, that is human empathy, that is where the crux will lie. If you're able to nail that properly, there are enough tools in AI out there which can help you build very fast. Yeah. So thank you for your time, guys. Would have loved if you would have had the video on. But yeah, I talk about product AI and automation on LinkedIn. Feel free to connect. And Ajinkya, you definitely send me a request.
I
Uh,
actually had a couple of questions if that's
sure,
okay,
go for
Saavn.
it.
Yeah, so it's a bit of an interesting question personally to you, having your role in Dream 11. So we all know that Dream 11 is the sponsor of the Indian national team, and probably majority of people watching cricket outside of India definitely have heard of it because of the same. So when do you think Dream 11 will eventually stop sponsoring, and what would be the key metric that it should choose to decide so?
Right. So it all depends on whether you think you have tapped out of the market, right? There are two things. You have to remain relevant in the market. And second, do you think there are more growth levers left in the market, right? Right now, there are about 300 million uh, gaming users who are playing in India. But the population of India is very high, right? Even if you assume 50% of that is where the core market lies, that's still 600, 700 million people. Not even halfway through that because people are more growing. We are a more younger population. So a lot of more population will enter into that age, which will become viable for us. So you need to have that brand visibility now that you have such big brand over there to remain relevant, if to command that market share. The second thing is, are we bringing something new for the market, right? See, IPL is coming every year, but there's still market for 1 month in the entire February. Why is that? They don't need to. It is being in context where you see a majority of the users are going to be. There are a lot of users who only play IPL. A lot of users will only play India games, right? But that will be the best time to acquire users and make them play the platform where they think it is the most relevant for them, and then make them sticky through the year to play through the year as well. That drives your retention. That will completely depend on how good the product is. So the marketing decision will always be based on, do we think there is more growth left in this market for us to capture? could also be not from acquisition lens, but from a resurrection lens. There will be a lot of people who might drop off over the course of the year and want to bring them back, right? So that becomes very important for decision point about whether we can get more users. So that is our new user conversion. And B, can we get them at a CAC which is sustainable for us? Yeah. I'm in an undergrad program, but while creating GTM for my case study competition, I feel very overwhelmed. I think it's because of my less world business marketing exposure. Any advice on that? Akhil, start small. Right now, with the advent of AI, you can use LLMs as your brainstorming partners. The overwhelm comes from the side of because you've not tested it out. It is a lot of theory that you're thinking through and applying. But what is important in this particular scenario is basically validating whether somebody has done in the similar fashion in past or not. That basically gives you confidence that you're going in the right direction. Until then, you will always have that two thing. One, hey, is it just theory or am I actually making sense? And then second is okay on the side of hey, will it actually work when I try it out? The second thing you will eventually get a chance to when you go to your own venture, work for a company, etc. But the first part is something that you can solve by validation. Across your journey from JP to Geo to Dream 11, you've moved to industry, different users. How has your definition of a high leverage product decision evolved through these contexts? And what's one decision you made that seemed small at the time, but created a butterfly effect you only understood later? Is this more a question about my career or about the products I have built, Parinita? I'll circle back once you reply to that. What should I do if my MVP requires good amount of investment, but I can't find any good venture or investment? Then you're not building the right thing. No MVP in today's world requires a big enough investment. Like the good amount of investment, the definition might be different, but I think today in under a lakh, 2 lakh kind of an investment, you can test out very, very complex and promising ideas with the advent of AI. Your Replit subscription costs you $20, in which you can build out the entire product over a week, right? That $20 is what 20 into $100 is also 2,000 rupees, right? Then if you're trying to find your first customers, let's say you spent another 15 20K to market it through Facebook, Google, and all those platforms to find those customers to get validation, and you might get 100 customers out of it. That's another 15,000 rupees plus 2,000 17,000. So in 20,000 you would have tested it. Let's say you failed, you have to reiterate couple of times, 3 times still. So uh, if you still think that you need more investment for your idea, I would say rethink and do a postmortem of your idea that why does it need it? Why is it so niche that it requires more significant investment to do it? And 90% of times you will find a cheaper alternative of it. What should I do? I've done as an aspiring product manager. How can I build projects to build my learning and resume? Yeah. So the easiest way is basically get a handle of this tool and solve your personal problems. Could be note making, could be, hey, I just want a reminder. For me, it was more about there are so many meetings I go into, I just don't have times to take MOMs. So I just keep this recorder on that I've built for myself on Lovable. It takes my notes, process it, sends it to the right channel on Slack to the right people, makes follow-ups for me. So saves basically build my personal assistant over there, right? So build out these three, four things for yourself, solving some problem that you face. If you can't figure out a problem for you, pick a generic problem. Like for example, for this class, I didn't get time because we started late. I built out this simple PM quiz board in 10 minutes, which I would have given to all of you to test out what all you learned in this session. Right. So choose any random idea because from an aspiring product manager, when you're going first in the industry, people don't care about how niche your idea was. They care about how you executed it. What problem did you think you were solving with it? How you went about solving, and how will you measure success of your product? These three questions, if you can answer, you are golden. So build your projects around these, and then position yourself accordingly. The products are so according to the journey, fundamental trust, passion. So different industry has a very different metrics, right? JP Morgan was all about finance. It was talking to fund houses about how they would invest money that people give to them as mutual funds and everything else. So it was a high leverage product decision because over there you can influence crores of money that is going somewhere at once. So high leverage because of that. Then I went into Saavn, which has a very different mindset of people. I was in Saavn from 2019 to 2021. People in India at that point of time still don't want to pay for music. Like it's available for free on YouTube. Why do I want to pay? Or I can listen on Saavn with ads. So very different. So very low leverage product over there, right? Because I it's a discretionary spend. I don't need it. I can watch or listen with ads. So the entire streaming industry is basically facing that problem. Then came gaming. Gaming is working in both ways. There are competitions who are spending millions of money in discounts to get people. Dream 11, on the other hand, is focusing on building the best product out there so that I can give you the best experience and so that you automatically become sticky for us. For us, the butterfly effect is on, am I solving the right user problem and giving them the best experience? Because if I am, they would be willing to pay for money. Versus for somebody else who is catching up in this market, for them, it is more about how do I spend more to acquire more, build my user base, and basically take it forward from there. Uh, I hope I answered your question. It was a very broad one, so let me know if something else you want to know. What are some low-cost strategies to validate an MVP before making a significant investment? Like I said, take a subscription of either Replit, Lovable, or Bold, or Cursor, whichever you like. Build it out. Do it a 1 week sprint. When we are all in IITs, I think the all-nighters is something we're all used to. I have done it many times when I was in IIT Madras. So take out that weekend as a group project between three, four of you. Build it out completely. Uh, Start with an MVP which can solve a problem for yourself and people in your college. Give it to them. See if that works. Send it out to different colleges. Then see if that works. Or solve it for people who are just entering into the job market. What if they can tailor, put in a resume and get a feedback whether it is right for this company or not? Very good for placement season. So choose those things. And I would say if you are starting out, choose out segment where you can find a distribution channel, different colleges or people who are just getting out of college and going into jobs. These you can get from again your ESL networks only who graduated last year and basically got a job. Try to solve their problems. They would be willing to pay for it. They've just gotten some money entering into this, right? So is it necessary to do an MBA to become a product manager? No, my life story doesn't say so. I've not done an MBA. I'm a civil engineer from IIT Madras, and then just life took me to different turns. Just be open to exploring when it comes to product management. I don't think it's a rocket science, honestly. It is something that you can learn with having good logic and first principle thinking. Build on that. Always think what is the problem that you're solving. What is the process to go from A to B to solve it, rather than how soon can you reach to B. And third is how will you measure success, iterate on top of it. If you think in these three lines and you build your product portfolios through these different no-code tools, you can crack any product manager interview. Yes, you might want to end up with the first year as a generic company in product to get the product tag to move on. But with these three things, you can solve anything. How can we develop strong product sense? In today's world, honestly, you've gotten it easy. Talk to GPTs, hey, break down Zomato for me and teach me why it is a good product. Ask it questions, ask it questions, ask it questions. That can build your learnings on why past products are good. Once you know why past products are good, take a problem, build something in Lovable or Replit or Bolt anywhere using your learnings, and then give it to 100 people in your college only to test out and ask what do they feel about it. What did they like? What did they not like? Change it, improve it. Best learning is always on the job. Like I came from banking, went to business and partnerships, and then went to product. When I came to product, I had never spoken to design, never spoken to tech in terms of building things. Obviously, in college, I spoke to them. Uh, but I was able to get through because the only two things I took away was okay, why, whichever thing we were doing, why we are doing, why we are doing, why we are doing, to the point where even I was bored. How many times will I ask why? But if you keep asking that, if you take away the shyness that, or hey, what will people think about me? You will get through. Do, do, do. AI for PM. So, like I said at the start, see, AI is in their budding stage right now. Everybody is exploring. You would want to explore it where everybody is starting at rock bottom. Then, when people have gotten experience into it, these tools have gotten better and they are getting an output much faster, 10x better than you guys. So it is never a wrong time to start in AI. Do start learning from today only. It could be AI for PM, it could be AI for marketing, whichever field you are interested in. Honestly, AI for PM doesn't necessarily to be the core niche you go into. If you think product management is the direction you want to go into, definitely get into it. Because right now, out of the 60 people in product that I know, only 10 know about AI. So that conversion today is at 15%. And out of those 10, also only 3-4 can build end-to-end things. Now that is your moat. In 3-4 years, this will go away, where everybody will up to speed, right? So what differentiation do you bring? You bring this particular thing, that I'm so good that I can build everything in AI. When you get out of your college, your relevance will be how much do you understand the foundations of AI, how much you can take that, build on top of it in the context of the company you're going for. This thing, if you nail, even if you don't have the right experience for that company, you will be preferred for sure. I am seeing that trend happening today also. Cool. Last two questions I'll take, and then I have to drop off for something else. Is AI taking entry level PM jobs, and how to tackle this? Uh, AI PMs are taking entry level non AI PMs job. AI is not taking anything because the human factor, at least in product management, is still something that is very important. What is the right problem to solve? Understanding it with user empathy. Why did the user like it? Why was the user frustrated when he was trying this out? Why it is a problem? Why does something else? Today, at least AI has not solved it. Maybe in a year's time, AI gets emotion and it solves it, but today it has not. So I have not seen AI taking away PM's job. What I've seen is people who are good in AI taking away jobs from the people who are not good. So even when I am taking interviews right now, understanding what the person is familiar with AI and not has become a norm for me to also check. That's one. And then the second thing is on the side of whatever the repetitive tasks were are getting automated. So yes, the number of jobs might reduce a bit because some of these jobs that I do regularly has passed on to AI. So I don't need another person in my team to share my load, and so my requirements will become less. That might happen, but whatever requirements will be out there will always be taken up by people who are good in first principle thinking and good in AI. Is there any group for this course where we can ask our doubts, connect to each part? So I think Nisel, you guys might have a email ID of product space, so reach out to Akhil. I'm sure he would be happy to basically help you guys with this particular piece. Akhil runs product space. He's great as a mentor, and they are doing really great in terms of practical education. So you can check their courses out. Other than that, keep checking out LinkedIn for different people who you think are doing great in that field. I do talk about AI as well. If you find my stuff interesting, do check it out daily. I do put out content for that as well. Yeah, uh, that's bring us to this end. I'll pass on to you guys if you have any final remarks, or we can close this out. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Very informative session from your end, Palash. Uh, and yeah, thank you for conducting the session. And sorry for the delay. Actually, we were that happened from our end. So yeah, thanks.
No worries, no worries. No worries. I'm just happy I was able to extend and cancel my next thing. Otherwise, I would have to. I was thinking about dropping at 7:10, but great, I was able to
Oh,
extend. Hello, all the best, guys. Couldn't get to know you all because you kept your videos off. So maybe Ajinkya might get a better favor from me than everybody else. But I would always recommend for future sessions, do keep your videos on. Builds a rapport with the person you are talking to. If you would have reached out to me after that, I would be much more responsive than now when you reach out. So take that learning forward. You have lost something very promising in this session. Somebody who is working in the industry, to build a rapport with them, to take learnings from them in future and ask them for more things. But I hope you don't miss out on that when you take future sessions. Yeah, cool. Shalom. Thanks, guys. Bye bye.
bye.